Okay, I'm here on the second day of structure with Tien Tzuo from Zuora. How you doing, Tien?
Good, good.
So, can you tell us a little bit about Zuora, what
Sure.
it is that you all do, and then I have some other questions I want to ask you.
Sure. Well, people think of us as the subscription, the Salesforce.com for online billing. And so what we offer is a complete set of solutions to do commerce, billing, and payments. We'll really focus on companies that have what we call a recurring subscription-based business model. Companies like SaaS companies, companies like cloud companies, online media companies, consumer internet companies, anybody that has a recurring subscription-based business model.
And you just announced Z-commerce, and what can you tell a little about that?
Yeah, we announced something we call Z-commerce for the cloud. And we're big believers in cloud computing. We know it's the future. And we think that more and more companies are going to decide not to buy any servers, but they're going to opt instead to use these elastic server clouds, if you will. But the thing is, as soon as you do that, what happens is customers, once it's elastic, they simply want to pay for what they use. And they want a monthly itemized bill that says, this is how many CPU hours I use, this is how many gigabytes of bandwidth that I use, and just charge me for what I use. I'm going to pay a little bit more, maybe for higher memory boxes, or more disk space, or reserved capacity. But fundamentally, I want a monthly-based, usage-based billing model. And companies are now rushing, saying, I need a billing system in order to become a cloud company. And we're announcing Z-commerce for the cloud to give them that billing capability, to give them that recurring payments capability, and to give them that subscription management capability.
And what would be sort of the secret sauce in your solution? What is sort of the thorniest problem that you're addressing in billing and metering monitoring?
Yeah, well, one of the big thorniest problems we have is pricing and packaging. And so I'm used to selling, say, a piece of computer or a storage device, and it's $500, it's $10,000, and there's an amount for that device. But now, all of a sudden, it looks more like a phone company. And so I might have a one-time activation fee like AT&T does for $36. I have a monthly charge that's $39.99 a month. That gets me 450 minutes a month, and then I've got to pay 45 cents if I go beyond. And so all of a sudden you're saying, I've got all these different fees, they have all these different periods, they have a monthly period, they have a quarterly period, and how do I really come up with the best pricing and packaging models? And if you look at the phone companies, you'll see you get a hint of where the cloud industry is going. So when we're talking to cloud companies, they're saying, some of them want to have a pure arrears model, right, where I just simply count how much you use and I send you a monthly bill. Some of them saying, no, I want you to commit to a certain volume, so you commit to at least $1,000 a month, or this many CPU cycles a month. Some of them saying, no, I want a pure prepaid model, because I don't really know, I don't want you to run up $1 million bill and then I can't collect it from you. So I actually want you to prepay for it, kind of like how the toll systems work in the bridges, where you prepay $20, you burn it down, and when you hit zero, they re-up you back to $20. So all these different models that companies want to do, and we support them all.
So if you were a betting man, which model do you think will, and I'm sure it'll be a mix, it'll be a portfolio of models, but which one do you think will be the one that most people go with?
I think it's going to be a mix. I think it's going to be a mix, and if you look again, not to take all the analogies back to the phone companies, but different people want different things, right? And then different markets at different worlds want different things. And so if you go to the Indian market, and we're working with a company like Tata to bring cloud computing to the Indian market, the market there understands a prepaid model. And they're used to buying prepaid cards for services. If you come to the U.S., there's more of a trust system. There's a credit system in place. They're more comfortable with an arrears billing model, and so it's really going to differ depending on the customer, the product, the market, and that's why this flexibility is needed.
And the solution itself, how is it, at a high level, how is it architected? What did you build it in? How did it come to be?
Sure, so we're a hosted application, we're a SaaS application. And so when our customers sign up for our service, our implementation is quick. We've implemented companies in less than 7 days, and as long as 90 days, it really depends on how much work there is to do. But because it's all SaaS driven, it's all done through a point-and-click interface. There's a reason people call us at Salesforce.com for online billing. It's as easy as to use and as easy to implement as Salesforce.com.
And so, speaking of Salesforce.com, and you used that analogy earlier, you have some ties to that. And you can just tell us a little bit about your background, and even before Salesforce.
Sure. So I've spent my career in the enterprise software industry, and in 1999, I definitely felt like the birth of the internet and the adoption of the World Wide Web, that the enterprise software market needed to move online and needed to move more towards an Amazon.com-like model. And so by chance, I happened to meet Mark Benioff and who expressed the same vision. So I joined the company. I joined the company as employee number 11. This is before we had a product, before we even had offices. I had an interview with Mark in his house. And I stayed with the company for about 9 years, and then left about 2 years ago to start Zuora. And Mark is actually one of our investors as well.
Oh, very cool. So just to conclude with, where do you see billing and metering going over the next couple of years? What are the issues that need to be solved? The biggest issues at this point?
Well, we talk about this concept we call the subscription economy. And our premise is that the whole world is moving in this direction. And then cloud computing is just one industry showing the technology industry moving in this direction. And we think the 20th century way of thinking about your business model as products, right? How do I build my product in the least cost, and how do I get people to buy my products? That is an antiquated way of thinking. Today, it's about services. It's about customers using your services. An example that we love to talk about is a company like Zipcar. Why buy a car and deal with all the hassles of ownership when a company like Zipcar can come along and say, simply subscribe, simply pay as you go, and oh, by the way, it's a much better service. You've got access to I think, 100,000 cars over North America, and you simply pay for what you use. You don't have to worry about insurance, you don't have to worry about gas, you don't have to worry about anything, you don't have to worry about parking, and it's just a much better model. And Zipcar is a great example of the transportation industry moving away from a product-centric society to what we call the subscription economy. Cloud computing is doing so, media is doing so, music and content is doing so, but we think the business model of the 21st century is a subscription-based business model, and more we see that companies and consumers alike are going to find themselves buying less and then simply subscribing to more and more.
Very cool. Tien, thank you so much.
Sure, thank you very much.